Hey, good evening, guys. It's time to get started with Bollocks this evening. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so if I sound a little funny, you know what's going on. And the beauty is I'm here with my friend Lenny. Oh, Lenny hasn't got here yet. Lenny's traveling. He's on his way. He will be coming in soon. But I got Blake pushing all the buttons in the back. Blake, are you alive back there?
Yes, I am. I'm leaning over my laptop right now. I'm literally going like pressing the buttons like this over my laptop that I'm using for the stories today.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're using your laptop for stories where I have like 4 little notes.
Yep, I have it right here. See?
All right. The young, fresh brain using the laptop, old guy winging it. Mm-hmm. All right. Talking about winging it, we are here in the Bozard Ford studio. Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online, bozardford.com.
All right, we have... Oh, wrong. I'm sorry, man. All right. So we have A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing. A to Z offers free estimates and has been serving St. Johns County.
Slow it down, man.
All right, sorry. A to Z Roofing has been offering free estimates and has been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years in the construction industry. They offer painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties for up to 25 years. They also offer shingle roofs with warranties up to 50 years. And they install tile roofing, cedar shake shingles.
That's the hard one.
I know, it's hard. Designer roofing and flat roof coverings. You can learn more information about A to Z Roofing at A2ZRoofing and Waterproofing.com.
All right, these guys right here are one of our newer sponsors. They did an amazing job for us last week when I called them out, and that is Mr. Electric. Need a trusted electrician in St. Augustine? Call Mr. Electric of St. Augustine, a local veteran-owned business providing expert residential and commercial electrical services across St. John's, Flagler, and Putnam counties. From panel upgrades to lighting installs and safety inspections and EV chargers, their licensed pros do it all. With upfront pricing and satisfaction guaranteed back by the neighborly, done right promise, flexible scheduling, no surprises, just dependable hometown service. Give them a call at 904-289-1217. That's 904-289-1217. Mr. Electric of St. Augustine, your local power experts.
All right, then we have Anastasia Diner and Moultrie Creek Diner. These neighborhood diners are more than just a place to eat. They are where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own or make new ones. The coffee is always hot, the smiles are genuine, and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner or Anastasia Diner and tell them Andy sent you.
Andy, good guy right there, that's for sure. All right, we have some other sponsors we got to give shout-outs to. Along with those wonderful sponsors we just told you about, we have Brightway Insurance, St. Augustine Pirate Museum, Anastasia Construction Group, Solar Stick, Abear Kresge and Associates, The Saint Restaurant, Powell Heating and Air, Meehan's Irish Pub, A.D. Davis Construction, and Land Title of America, because they
give a crap.
Also, do not forget about our guys Kaiser over there at Kaiser's Deli and Market. Blake, it's Monday. It's been a rough day for me. I'm going to tell you right now. I got the crud you had last week.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, hey, at least it's so what's like your main thing? Just like stuffy nose, or just like your voice sounds like crap?
It's mostly in my sinuses, and because it's in my sinus, I have a little bit of a tooth thing going on right now, which is probably the worst part. This decided to join me around noontime today, so at least my sinuses are stuffed up. I have a toothache, and I'm losing my voice. So I got all those things going for me, but I'm here to entertain you, the dancing monkey that I'm going to be today.
But definitely not a flying monkey, though.
No, dude. Why'd you bring that up? See, that's not
Because
cool.
it's funny.
That's not
And
cool.
we need a laugh.
I don't like flying monkeys, man.
We know.
All right. So we're going to go back and forth with some topics, Blake. Lenny should be in here in the next 10 minutes. He is en route. He landed, and he is on his way. So we're excited to hear about Lenny's wonderful adventures around the world. But here's what I have. My categories. I have Iran, Iran and Israel.
Okay.
What's your category?
I have the G7.
G7, and I have bottom 2%.
All right.
Which one you want to go with? I'll pick next one. You go with this one.
All right. I'll go with Israel or Iran.
All right, Israel, Iran. It's like the hottest topic going right now, and they've been going at it, and it's getting scary. Iran talked about, like late last week, talked about pulling out of the nuclear agreement that everyone has around the world. What are your thoughts with what's going on with it, and how do you feel like Donald Trump's handling it?
I don't know if Donald Trump should. I don't know if our president should handle it like right now, unless U.S. civilians are targeted in this as well. I know. I believe it was Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did an interview with ABC News today about it, and he said like, yeah, today it might be Tel Aviv, but tomorrow it might be New York. So Netanyahu definitely wants America to get involved at some point in this.
Yeah, because we're considered part of their enemies. But you know, in Israel's been. I mean, they've been pretty aggressive. Also, I mean, these two have been going at it pretty good. But I believe this week's kind of a make or break moment with these guys. I don't think it's like the Ukraine and Russia. I don't think either the hatred that is there is even deeper. It's thousands of years of hatred. So I think after this week, if these tensions continue, it's going to escalate very quickly, or it's going to de-escalate very quickly. I see it as a very, very hot flame. Usually super hot flames burn out very quickly, or they incinerate everything. And I hope it burns out.
Yeah.
So,
it definitely is like interesting to see like what's like hearing about the stories and like here in St. Augustine is like, okay, so what impact do like we have like with the story? Like sure we understand the story, we understand what's going on, but like what can we do, or like what can we understand while living here?
I really don't think we can from the level where we're at. I mean, we can spread the word and talk about like our opinions and listen to other people's opinions in the comments. But, you know, I can see this, you know, speaking from where we're at in this country right now, I can see this as the Trump distraction he needs away from the whole Elon bull that's going on. And if he can pull off getting these two at the same table and getting them both to back down, he might earn a Nobel Prize just on that alone. And you know that's exactly what he wants. He's upset some of the things when he was president last time that didn't get considered as a Nobel Prize. But if he can get the two of them at the table and talk rationally to each other, I mean, it could save Tel Aviv and it could save Tehran. Because I can tell you this, if Tel Aviv goes down, Tehran is going down. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like one or the other. Both of them are gone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so there's not a, you know, they're definitely both eye for eye mentalities in their government. But if Trump can get them to the table, and like I said, it's kind of a distraction against some of the other things that's going on over here. If he can figure this one out, it's gonna earn him some big points towards that Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like this so we like I know you were around like during the 1990s with the Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestine. But then that broke apart. So you've been understanding like Israel, Palestine, like in the Middle East area far more than I have. Like you watched the Jim McKay with the
I watched the '72 Olympics. I mean that's the first big story I remember. I mean like of all news stories of all time, that first the Jewish athletes from Israel getting murdered by a terrorist attack. That was my first image of the news. And the reason I remember it so much is because Jim McCain was Wide World of Sports. He was my Saturday sports guy, and he was giving real live news. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really intense. And I think I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but my point is like you have a better understanding of you experience like more of what's been going on with what's going on in the Middle East compared to like myself.
Yeah.
But
that comes with age.
Yeah,
though.
that comes with age though.
It doesn't come with wisdom. Like age kind of gives you more mistakes that you have to select from, like more in your arsenal. It doesn't give you wisdom. Like people are like, oh, that wise old dude. No, he's just got a whole bunch of mistakes piled up that he knows. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can call it wisdom if you want, but it's pretty much, if you haven't made mistakes, then you really haven't lived a life, I'd say.
Yeah, but the point, but what I'm trying to get to is like, so you experience like all these events in the past, like compared to like what's going on right now, because what I've been seeing is like, if it like from like 2023 to like now, if you like, it feels like online, if you criticize Israel, then you immediately get called out as an anti-Semite for saying like, oh, you don't believe that Israel has a right to a Jewish state, like you don't believe that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
like so was that sentiment still the same?
No, it was more. It was people. It's kind of odd. We've been attacked by Muslims and terrorists, Muslim extremists. Not Muslims. I'm not throwing a blanket over.
No.
Muslim extremists more than we have obviously Israel and the Jewish community. And yet there seems to be, in today's world, more sympathy towards the Muslim extremists than it is with a group that's been an ally of ours since the 1940s. And I don't think it's rational in a lot of ways, but I think it has a lot to do with people being so anti-government. If the U.S. says we're supporting Israel, then we got to be on the other side. Not using any rational thought, but that's where I was, that Troy's 2 cents that I did 2 weeks ago about extremism. That's where extremism's so dangerous. They're not even thinking on their own. They're just saying, oh, if he's on that side, then I got to be on this side, and know none of the facts. So it's kind of a dangerous world when the media kind of fuels that fire because it basically sells advertising.
Yeah.
So, all right, Blake, you ready to move on?
Yes, I am ready to move on.
All right. What was your topic?
All right, I have G7.
All right, I had bottom 2%.
All right, and next one is Club World Cup.
Club World Cup. All right, I am choosing, and I will do the G7.
All right, the G7. It's currently taking place in Alberta right now. So fun times for us in.
Is that in the United States?
They really,
not yet.
They really want us to see though that they're trying their best. But hey, I guess it must be a great spot to talk with world leaders and to say like, hey, so this area kind of wants to be in that area. And we're inviting the guy that wants this area in that area, so should be fun. So
Alberta was one of those areas that could have went either way at one point.
I think it was more like Quebec than Alberta at some point because Quebec wanted to be its own country more than like Alberta.
Oh, Quebec wanted to be their own country, but like when we purchased Alaska from Russia, it still wasn't established too much what Alberta really was and the Yukon and that whole side of Canada. So, I mean, when that line was established, where the line is between Canada and the U.S., Alberta could have went the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, but the big talking point about Trump's first G7 back since being president was him bringing up that Russia and possibly China should be part of the G7 or in this case a G9.
Yeah.
Russia was taken out of the G8 because of their invasion of
Of Ukraine.
Yeah.
The Crimean.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they were originally taken out in 2014 because of their annexation of Crimea, and with everything going on with their invasion of Ukraine, not the should you really join the G8 again?
Yeah. So what are our 7 right now?
So the 7 right now is
Canada, U.S.
yeah. So Canada, U.S., the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan.
France,
And
Germany, Italy, and Japan.
yes, those are the.
How did Italy get in there? They're broke as a joke.
They have they need Italy for catering.
for the food. They got good wine.
They really didn't want to eat Tim Hortons all day.
Yeah, but I mean, you got France has good food, Japan has good food, the U.S. has good food. Now the other ones suck. The other ones suck. So okay, I'll go with Italy getting in because of the food.
Yeah. So.
Canada is not known for a hotbed of food, and UK's awful.
Yeah.
And Germany food is. I mean,
I'll be honest though, poutine's kind of good if you make it right though.
Yeah, if you don't get out of control with it, poutine can sometimes get out of control, and then your fries get all soggy. And
yeah. So. But the big 3 players involved in it, actually the big 4 involved in this is obviously President Trump, Prime Minister of Canada Mark Carney, who's officially the chair of the G7 since it's in Canada, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and France President Emmanuel Macron. So we've seen like Trump and Macron interact again. I believe Trump said, besides former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Trump said that was his favorite world leader outside of the U.S. Mm-hmm. So I believe he said Macron was number 2. So Trump has a deal with Macron, but also you also have like 2 labor/liberal leaders in the world stage with Mark Carney and Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
How do you think Trump will like handle like their political differences?
I mean, what I see about Carney is he's kind of very charismatic. Mm-hmm. I look at him almost as a Bill Clinton Canadian version.
Yeah.
You know, with like flannel on and stuff, and drinking whatever beer they drink up there. LeBlat's. What's the beer in Canada? Is LeBlat's one of them?
Yeah, Labatt.
LeBlat's.
Labatt Blue Molson.
Molson's the one I was really trying to think of.
Yeah.
But I see this dude as being a good dude, like being the guy in the fraternity that settles all the fights between the Chads. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of Chads in this room just looking at what we got, including Donald Fratman himself. So, I mean, I think he's the right guy to kind of be leading this. Yeah. I don't like a lot of Canadian policies and those things. But as far as being in a position to negotiate some of this stuff, I mean, I don't know his intelligence level, but he seems very charismatic for that role.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my take of it. I don't know enough really about his policies. I know the party that he's from is a little more liberal than what we're used to.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. I also see like more Carney's like he was like heavy into the financial markets at the time. I believe like he was in like major high roles in banks, like national like country banks during like major recessions. Mm-hmm. I think in 2008 he was the president of the Bank of Canada when the market crashed, and in 2016 he was the main person at the Bank of England when the Brexit vote happened and it crashed the British pound.
So he's good at crashing economies. Is that what you're getting at?
He'll definitely be good at.
He knows how to handle it.
Yes,
I guess.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at as well.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, like another thing that was brought up was the 7 countries involved are huge into the auto industry, because you have U.S., Canada. U.S. produces a lot of cars. Ford produces the most cars here in the U.S. Thank you, Bozar Ford. Yeah, you also have Canada produces cars. Germany, you have obviously your big three manufacturers in Germany.
Yeah, France doesn't really produce a whole lot. Neither does UK anymore.
I'll definitely say like them is like they still produce like Nissans. Like
I mean, when I think of cars, I mean obviously the cars I have are German. So
yeah, but you also have Japan as well involved with the with the G7 as well, and they have Toyota, Honda, then the big ones, and then of course the big thing was. And of course, when you talk about the auto industry, you also talk about the tariffs, especially with Trump's tariffs. So how much you think of an emphasis do you think like Trump should put out there to like the big world leaders to say like?
Well,
hey,
I think if these other countries take their tariffs off, Trump would take his off. I mean I don't think he's trying to be, unrealistic with his tariffs. I mean, you take off your tariffs, I'll take off mine. And we'll play nice together. That's kind of the way it's supposed to be in a partnership. But you're right. I mean, U.S., Germany, and Japan are the three I think of as automotive leaders of the world. So I think that the tariffs is going to be almost a nothing burger once it all settles. Because the art of the deal is getting to a negotiating point where everybody's okay, and we're a little bit better than okay.
Yeah. Now,
you know who's okay with that? Me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with U.S. using its buying power. I mean, we have debt, but we also have the most buying power in the entire world. So I'm okay with us using buying power to get us a better deal. And the reason he wants China there is he wants China there so that we can work on how we're going to handle our debt with them. And that's the end goal, I think, of where Trump's at, is trying to renegotiate debt with China.
Yeah. And going back, hold on, I think we have someone here at the door. Do I hear someone from a New Yorker?
Yeah.
Is there a New Yorker in studio?
I think he's walking in right now.
Yeah.
So hi, Lenny. And he's wearing one of our sponsors' shirts, so everyone can see. Either that or he's turning into Kermit the Frog. So
hello.
I'll show you a picture one day.
Yeah. So
welcome back.
Lenny, what we're talking about is the G7.
I'm with you.
And Trump has mentioned bringing in China and Russia.
Lenny, could you grab your microphone, please, and Justin?
Oh yeah, they go. Those things are important.
Technicalities.
But like I was telling Blake, I think his end goal is still renegotiating the debt out of this with China. So if he invites China in, gets China to this table, says, hey, I helped you with these other countries, then that's going to help him with his negotiation of the debt. So I believe that is kind of his end goal, and I'm pretty sure they're smart. There's smart enough people in that room to see that.
Yeah, and that would be huge for the United States because our debt is crushing. You and I are not going to have to worry about it, but Blake and the next generation, Maeve for sure, is going to be shouldering that responsibility, and I'm fearful for that. So we've talked about this before. Most municipalities, when they have the opportunity, interest rates go down, they renegotiate their debt, and it saves them buckloads of money. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And we're complimenting Carney's personality, being the right guy to kind of lead this group.
And he's an economist.
I called him the Bill Clinton of Canada. We're Bill Clinton in flannel. So
right,
all right.
But Lenny, since you're here, so the first question I tried to lead off from my dad was since this is Trump's first G7 back as president, he did mention again that he wants to see Russia back in the G7 and reform the G yet again. What's your thoughts about Russia joining back?
I think Russia still needs to get some seriously tough love until they stop, blowing up Ukraine. It's going to take a gajillion years to get that place back to doing anything productive. Unfortunately, I mean it's pretty much rubble in a lot of places. You look at Gaza, you can look at some of the cities in Ukraine; they're equally as devastated. The wheat fields are crushed. The sunflower fields where they get a lot of oil from is crushed, and that's cooking oil, not eating oil.
Not the kind that Putin's always going after.
So, I think it's tough. I don't think Russia should be back in at this point in time. Their economy is held up surprisingly well through this war and the sanctions, mostly because of the oil.
Yeah.
Eastern Europe needs the oil from Russia. Germany gets their oil from Russia. So you can sanction them all they want, but if you're not buying their oil, oil, it's not stopping them.
I can tell you, like, 3 of these countries are still buying oil.
Oh, yeah.
Oil from Russia.
Yeah.
And then they want to complain about them. And then they want the U.S. to handle it.
Right.
But you're still buying oil from Russia.
Right.
So
buy it from us, According to the president, we got more oil than we know what to do with. We're sitting on more oil than any place in the world because we're huge. So, we'll see what happens. We're a big,
beautiful country.
Exactly. But, let's use our oil then if we need to do that.
That's what I think we got to do. And that's why, 260, it's going to get there. It's already there.
It was close, yeah.
We're 265 and 268 in some of our locations just here in town.
Great.
And in Georgia, it's in the 250s. All right. Ready to move on. Here we go. The categories I gave were bottom 2%. Blake, you had Club World Cup, and I'm going to go with No Kings. Lenny, you get to choose because it's our topics.
Right. Let's do No Kings.
All right. No Kings. Like this past weekend, there was the No Kings protest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First off, you got to learn to name some shit right. Okay. You want people to believe it. You got to learn, because if he was a king, you wouldn't be able to hold that sign like that about a king. So you needed to read and brand yourself. But I was very happy with the protest this weekend in town
right.
and throughout. I mean, for as many people that protested and as few incidents there was across our entire country, very proud of both sides not getting stupid and taking it too far either way.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah. So it was so that's one of those things. It's like, all right, we use common sense this weekend. You don't have to agree with what was written on the sign. They aren't going to agree with what you have on your MAGA hat. And you know what? Both of you have a right to your own opinion. And I think that came through. Blake, thank you for doing the footage that you did at the fort this weekend. So, and that was early. I mean, there was I got some pictures later on that it was probably another 50% more than after Blake left.
Well, when we were talking about Blake's live reporting on the spot, you had said something about 1,500 people there. So you think it swelled to more than that?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I think so. I think it got to close to 2,000.
And it was peaceful.
So. Mm-hmm.
Made the point.
It definitely was very peaceful when I got there. Like there was like 1 to 2 agitators, but there was like very supportive people like throughout the entire during the time that I was there. And St. Augustine Police Department was there as well, make sure everyone was keeping the peace. And also there was one person that did have a medical episode during.
It was hot.
Yeah, it very was super hot out there, and the fire department was very responsive out there as well. So thank you to that as well.
Thank you for being our first responders.
Absolutely.
Period. No, it was hot. It was very nice to see. But I was saying in the first story, and I think you were watching it on air. Mm-hmm. If I saw it, I was saying that the Israel-Iran is creating enough distraction.
Right.
For Trump right now, it's giving him a lot of cover against this No Kings. So, the No Kings thing was nice, but trying to stop a nuclear war, more important. Sorry, we hear you, we understand your voice, but he has that right now, and he can make a difference in this. If he handles it properly.
Well, everybody's looking to him right now to see what he's going to do about this. Putin called him and they had a conversation, so apparently that went well. He also allegedly stopped Netanyahu from killing the Grand Ayatollah. So, assassinating a head of state is not a good thing. Mm-hmm. Iran's in chaos as it is, it seems right now, because they've gone after most of their military heads. So, their chain of command is a little bit broken, shall we say. But it's tough.
Well, Iran, I think, made a very dumb political statement about, we're going to pull out of the nuclear agreement. And I don't know if that was intentional to get Trump involved more, and
better
get the world to wake up and say, oh, well, they're serious about this threat, the entire world, or was it dumb on their part where it's like, all right, you guys made this statement and you made this statement first. Now I'm back in the other side. These neutral countries are now like, whoa. You guys can fight, but don't start talking about that bullshit.
Right.
So I think some countries that were neutral left the Iran side on that side. So with that one statement.
Well, I find the timing on it was kind of odd, unless and we obviously aren't privy to the intelligence, but it was Israel started decapitating the command of Iran's military and their nuclear sciences, and they've been doing targeted assassinations of nuclear scientists and things like that. They've been sort of strategic about it, and their targeting has been less civilian than the Iran response. But it was the day before they were about to sit back down again and finish out the negotiations.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what that proved, other than the fact that they didn't, unless Israel believed they didn't believe there were going to be any results.
No, I think they just don't trust each other. I think they didn't see it being a real thing, and until someone's in the room that's going to hold both sides accountable,
right?
I don't think it's going to work. And the only person I could see in country I can see holding both sides accountable and having teeth,
right,
is the United States,
right?
Because China's going to hold whichever side is accountable. That financially benefits them,
right,
and not necessarily doing the right thing.
And Russia's working on, getting the price of oil up, so it's to their benefit as well. But it was interesting because the United Nations, which most of the countries in the world now don't take seriously, in the
until they show up at their country,
right? Yeah,
then you take it serious.
Well, and the Security Council is just ridiculous because of it's going to be either China's going to veto it, Russia's going to veto it, or the United States is going to veto it. So if you can get a unanimous vote out of the UN Security Council, that would be amazing nowadays. But the UN atomic watchdogs came and said, "Look, Iran, you're cheating, you're enriching uranium for nuclear weapons."
Yeah.
So when they came out, and that might have been the go button for Israel, right? That might have been the go button. Yeah.
Yep. All right. I have bottom 2% and club World Cup.
Let's do the bottom 2%.
All right, this one's a quick one, and I got it from Warren Buffett. Guy's had a little bit of success in his life,
a wee bit,
and he made the statement: the bottom 2% in the U.S. lives better than the richest man in the world did when he was born.
When Warren Buffett was born.
Warren Buffett was born in the 30s during the Depression. So Rockefeller was the richest man in the world probably at that time.
Yeah.
John D. Rockefeller. So he's saying that the bottom 2% in the United States, they have access to much better health care. The food that is available to them. Are you talking about the health care in
No, I'm just not buying that it's better than the richest man in the world when he was born.
Entertainment, they have access to more entertainment. They have a direct access to family members all over the world, and he's saying that their lifestyle, if you put them in the 30s, would have been better than the richest man in the world. So it's hard to argue with a guy like Warren Buffett.
It is, but I'm finding that there's if he said that the bottom 2% today are better off than the bottom 2%.
He didn't say better off. He said they have a better lifestyle than if you took them right now. They have access to transportation and can travel anywhere in the world. Really, even the bottom 2% have that.
Right, I understand that.
But if you took a person, bottom 2% person, and went through their daily life compared to Rockefeller at that time,
yeah,
he's saying it's better.
See, I'm not buying that.
Okay.
You know, I don't think John Rockefeller or any of the robber barons who were still, watching the world collapse around them, if you didn't throw yourself out a window when the stock market crashed, that upper echelon, they might have lost fortunes, but their lifestyle didn't change dramatically, I don't believe.
Yeah. But I definitely will say, I will say so about the whole travel part. Like you can I understand where he's coming from. Like we have options to airlines compared to what they have back then with ships and all that. But let's be real. You rather take a 1920 ship across the world than do a 3-hour flight on Spirit Airlines.
I'm taking Spirit still.
There you go.
I'm still taking Spirit. And that's what I'm saying. That's how the bottom 2% would do. They would do the discount.
Or the Greyhound bus, right?
The discount travel is faster and more efficient than the best travel at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So travel, yes. Health, yes. I got to give the nod to that. But overall, well-being and lifestyle, I don't know if I agree. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're in the bottom 2% and you're living paycheck to paycheck, there's a lot of anxiety in your life. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of where am I feeding my kids coming from going on there. And, if government programs get short-circuited, it's only going to get worse. So, I don't think the top 1% were suffering. I don't think the Rockefellers were missing meals or health care or transportation, so... And I understand the point he's trying to make, but I'm not necessarily buying it.
Keely said, what was the point of his statement? And the point of his statement was, in the United States, we really don't know poor. We really don't know poor. And I understand that statement and the people that are saying, well, I just got kicked out of my house. Well,
right.
You ate a meal today.
Right.
The rest of the world will go days. We're the only country that our poor people are fat. All right? I mean, it doesn't really exist in third world countries. Your poor people are not obese. And that used to be a sign of wealth. And that shows you the difference of us and the rest of the world in a lot of ways.
But still, in this country, there are pockets of poverty, and there are people that,
we have the richest community in St. Johns County and the poorest community in St. Johns County in the entire state. And people don't realize it exists.
Yeah.
Because our migrant workers in the Armstrong area, and that is the poorest and highest area of tuberculosis in the entire state.
Jesus, still.
And in Ponte Vedra, if you just count Ponte Vedra, it's the most density of millionaires in the entire state.
Yeah.
And that's in one county, all in one county. And people don't realize the diversity of the disparity between
more than Naples.
Yeah. If you just count Ponte Vedra,
impressive.
Now if you count the city and the surrounding areas, then Naples will have us. Okay. But if you only count that Ponte Vedra area, it's hard not to find a millionaire in Ponte Vedra.
That's true.
Just by their value of their house, the equity they have.
I was going to say, and millionaire is the one that rolls off of the tongue, but there's a lot of people who have $1 million, whether it's in, equity in their home or in their savings. Doesn't mean you're the richest person on the block by any stretch of the imagination.
No, absolutely not.
So, but yeah, wacky.
Yeah. So I just found it, and coming from Warren Buffett, who's a guy I really respect as far as financially and stuff like that, and he did a much better job of defining it. That's why he's Warren Buffett and I'm not.
Right.
But I kind of got his point of, hey, we're still doing okay, but this is what we really got to look at.
Yeah.
So
and part of the problem with poverty in the United States for so many people is the mental health issue as well. So it's right. It's hard to separate that. Yeah.
Addiction. Yeah. So
it's hard to separate them out, unfortunately. And and we're cognizant of it, and there's attempts to try to rectify a lot of the mental health issues. Along with cooperating into the policing with that. Bringing social services into the policing issues. And that should ameliorate some, but it's going to be a big aircraft carrier to turn, is what I'm saying.
Well, and I can tell you this: if you want to really make a comparison, compare the bottom 2% right now to the bottom 2% in 1933. That's a huge gap.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge, huge gap at that point.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of it has to do with technology.
oh yeah, no, 100%. It's us, not being a third world country.
Right.
Now you take a third world country, you take Haiti, bottom 2%. Then now in a bottom, there's the gap's nowhere near the same.
Right, because they're they're miserable.
They haven't evolved. They haven't evolved.
Yeah.
The way our country's evolved over the last 100 years.
Right.
So, all right, it's time for 5 questions.
All right, ask them up.
I have written down 5 questions right here.
Okay.
All right. Some of these are very, very challenging, and some of these you got a 50-50 chance.
Okay.
All right.
Let's flip that coin.
All right. Here we go. What historic figure would you want to change with them, like a Freaky Friday moment? They become you, you become them for one day.
Ben Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. All right. Is there a particular day in Ben Franklin's long life that you would, don't say in a bathtub in France? Okay.
Well, I was kind of thinking.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad plan.
I was thinking his time over in England or France.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was going to say something earlier when we were talking about transportation and stuff. I'm amazed at how much diplomacy actually got done in the late 1700s, early 1800s, when you had to take a ship to go to England to have a conversation, to come back and start all over again and go back and forth. That's fascinating because it was every bit of 6-7 weeks to get across the Atlantic back then.
Yeah, it was like 45 days.
Yeah.
So
fascinating. Yeah, no, I can dig Ben Franklin. Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
I like that answer.
So Thomas Jefferson had ice cream, but I'll stick with Ben Franklin.
Blake, you got a person in history, a historian, and it doesn't have to be U.S. It doesn't have to. I mean, it could be anyone in history.
Oh, that's a very low question to ask. Like to not tell anyone immediately. So that needs to be like something that you need to tell like before the morning show for question of the day. That's a big question to ask. I'm gonna have to go with Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench. Okay. I like the sports side.
Indeed.
You just want to hold 7 baseballs in your hand at one time, don't you?
That's the most impressive talent right there.
I think if I was to be a sports guy, and I love Johnny Bench, but if I was to be a sports guy, I'd want to be Bonds, and just that respect when he stepped into the box and people are like walking with the bases loaded. That's some serious respect.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But that's not my answer.
Yeah. But
and your answer is?
No.
Well, go ahead, Blake. Finish your thought.
Yeah, but if I did happen to Freaky Friday into Barry Bonds, I definitely would make him into the Hall of Fame because I'll be scared to do needles.
Yeah, you wouldn't went anywhere near those needles.
Right.
All right, and here mine's a very controversial answer because I'm an agnostic, but I do still want to know the truth. So I'm changing with Jesus Christ.
What day? Because it was one day.
The day before.
You mean so you want that Last Supper? Is what you're saying?
The day before the nails started hitting.
Okay.
But that's I want to go.
Dad,
what's really the truth here? So I want to find it out.
Well, yesterday was Father's Day, so if you became Jesus for a day, you could say, "Hey, Dad, let's talk here."
I want to find out.
Okay.
As an agnostic, I want to find out how wrong I possibly am. And for a lot of people's, I hope I am wrong. So, because I don't want to take away their dreams. All right, here we go. A little less serious. Got a 50-50 on this one. The Matrix series or Fast and Furious series? Which of those?
Okay, I'm glad you and Blake are both sitting down.
Okay.
Because I think I watched one of the Matrix, and I've watched maybe I don't know if I watched the full Fast and Furious. But the Matrix is a little too bendy for me. I'm not that flexible, so I'll go Fast and Furious.
You go vroom. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, vroom vroom.
Blake, what about you?
I'm going to say Matrix because you have like a better overall story, like with the first 3 original films.
Uh-huh.
The reboot doesn't count because it's awful. But with like Fast and Furious, you could just like swap out the cars and like do like the same story. So it definitely feels more of a money grab the more movies you make.
They made 10 of them.
You're going with Matrix.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Matrix also, and it has to do with the main actor. I like Keanu Reeves. I'm not a Vin Diesel fan.
Okay.
I think Vin Diesel's a terrible actor. I think he's a badass. I wouldn't want to scrap him over this conversation.
He's not that big. I don't think he's that tall.
Yeah, but I don't want to fight Keanu Reeves either. I think
that's true.
I think he's pretty tough too. So John, if he can do half the stuff John Wick can do.
Except Keanu Reeves is very, very zen from what I know.
Yeah,
he's very zen.
So, and I understand the two of them don't like each other.
Keanu Reeves and Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel.
Okay.
So I think there's some beef between the two of those guys.
Okay.
So, but I'm going with Matrix because of Keanu Reeves over Vin Diesel.
Next time you ask a question like that, make it a series of movies that I've seen.
Okay. Well, you weren't here at the time.
No, I'm just saying, no.
All right. Yeah, it would make it easier.
I'm only 1.5 into John Wick, so I got some space there too.
I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, I saw one finally, and it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. All right. What other Florida city would you want to live in if you're exiled from St. Augustine? You're exiled from St. Augustine. You can't live. You can still come back and visit.
Okay.
I guess that's
in
not
Florida,
exiled, but you just can't live here.
I go Naples.
Naples.
Yeah.
Naples. Okay.
I'm not sure about the West Coast. The East Coast.
Cost of living there might get you.
Well, that's true too. But again, the Southeast Coast down by Delray, Boca, Boynton, those places.
Sarasota. Yeah, it's really.
Sorry.
The Sarasota.
Southeast Coast. Sorry, no, where all them Long Islanders are.
Oh yeah.
All the people that busted my balls in my restaurants for 15 years.
Well, we predicted what your answer would be, and yet you didn't answer it. Look over your left shoulder.
There you go. That one. Thanks. See? Thanks for reminding me.
Well,
absolutely, in a heartbeat. Key West.
We predicted that would be your answer,
and that is the right answer in retrospect.
Okay. All right,
because A, can afford to live there. B, it's a restaurant oriented community.
Yep.
We said before that when they were doing the revolution, where they wanted to secede, the mayor of Key West was a restaurant owner. So yeah, I'm in there. I have to start drinking again though.
Yeah, you definitely would there.
Yeah, what a shame.
You'll enjoy a lot of sunsets.
Absolutely.
All right, Blake, what city? You can't live in St. Augustine any longer.
I'm going to go with Orlando.
Orlando.
I know it seems like basic to go with a big city, but I root for the Magic. I root for Orlando City. I also go to Bay Hill. I also would like to go back to Bay Hill at some point. Plus Disney, Universal. I definitely do want to experience what's more in Orlando besides just the big stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got a great Chinatown, from what I hear.
Yeah, but I definitely do have experience. I definitely will ask him questions about which areas in Orlando to avoid, though.
Now, question: in hurricane history, has Key West gotten flattened?
Key West got hit when they were building the 7 Mile Bridge.
Okay,
so that would have been in 1910, somewhere around there, 1907.
Right, because the railroad got blown up too.
Yeah. So, and because what happened is people were living on barges there and building the bridge. They were living on barges, and the barges actually got lifted, and there were people found alive in the water only 3 or 4 miles off the coast of Cuba.
Wow, that's some float. Okay.
That's almost 90 miles.
That's some float for sure.
That's almost 90 miles. I don't know how long the wind carried them.
Yeah.
But that's impressive.
Yep.
That is absolutely impressive. Alive in the water, and that was during the time. So that's the only real Key West.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, there's storms that have kicked its ass.
Right.
I think one of the storms we talked about, even Andrew was so big it got them too. But there's storms as it comes around that corner there and heads up the Gulf. Those aren't. I think the one last year kicked its ass.
There was some high water. Yeah, there was a lot of high water there too. You always have that one reporter that's stuck by the buoy at the America's furthest point south, watching the waves go over their head.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Josh called me like a walking Google. Just a lot of stuff gets stuck in there, Josh. All right, as far as my city goes, it depends on where I'm at in my life. Right now, if we have Maeve and we have this, I would say I would go to DeLand.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with DeLand.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I can still, run for mayor in DeLand. I've already been mayor once there when I was 12.
Right.
but I would still go to DeLand. I still have a lot of support there. Now later on in life, I think it's Key West.
Yeah,
probably not Key West. Probably more like a Marathon Key.
Right. A little further north.
One of those central keys there.
Yeah.
Less populated. Still enjoying that lifestyle. Because I want to be near the water.
We get you a bungalow in one of those resorts we were talking about. That's private island off of the Keys.
I'm good with that.
That works nice.
I'm good with that. So and Bobby said avoid Orange Blossom Trail. Definitely do that. OBT. All right. Most underrated athlete of all time. Most underrated athlete of all time. So you pick any sport, you go, he was greater than people think. Blake, the silence has hit. Lenny, I think he's glitching in the matrix. Yeah. What do you got, Blake?
Keep forgetting the red pill or the blue pill.
I'm definitely thinking about like the same. I'm definitely thinking like the same thing as like okay, do I go with like a mainstream like do I go with like a Big Four athlete like so someone like the Big Four sports leagues? Do I go with like someone from like out there like someone from like swimming or anything like that? I've got to go with Moses Malone. That's a
great pick. Like that's even before your time.
Yeah,
but that is a great pick.
And I'm thinking,
and that mainly comes from like hearing like the greats on like inside the NBA, like Charles Barkley. He used to be teammates with Moses.
Yeah,
Malone.
he gives Moses credit for him like financially staying okay and being like calls him the greatest teammate he ever had. So
I'm thinking somebody like Dave DeBusschere. You had Reed, you had Frazier, you had Bradley on that team. So I don't think DeBusschere got as much credit as he deserved on that ball club.
Yep. And mine is he's Hall of Famer. Moses Malone's a Hall of Famer too. I don't know if DeBusschere.
I don't think so.
DeBusschere is a Hall of Famer.
He is. All right.
So he's not underrated.
Mine's a guy who won a lot of titles, got a lot of credit, but I still don't think he's. And it's a basket. You notice we all went with basketball players, by the way. Mine is Tim Duncan. I think Tim Duncan should be in the conversation of being the GOAT.
That's an interesting point because he's definitely like one of the most like impactful team you definitely needed him for the 5 Spurs championships. But however, though, I think the big thing is like he doesn't give you like the flashiest numbers of all time. Like
but that's what makes him great. That's what makes him underrated.
I definitely agree that he's underrated.
Amazing teammate. Knew how to be a champion. Basically, what did they used to say about Hank Aaron? Hank Aaron's as good as Willie Mays. His hat never fell off. Okay. And that's kind of the way I look at Tim Duncan. He's no flash, the big fundamental. But if you talk to people that played against him and you say, who's on your all-time team? Every one of them picked Tim Duncan. Every one of them picked Tim Duncan.
As a power forward.
Yep.
I'm not thinking he was so underrated personally.
Then in that case, if you go with power forward, then would you have?
But he's never in the conversation of being one of the top 5 players.
No, right. But I definitely agree with that because I personally believe if you go with just power forward, Karl Malone's probably the best power forward of all time.
He could never win. He couldn't play defense like him. And look at their numbers head to head. It was Karl Malone was an amazing scorer, and he had a formula that worked really well with John Stockton. Yeah. But there was a reason why they never won. And it wasn't just because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, but we'll say but we'll say another athlete though, since we're only talking about basketball for right now, Mark Messier, because he was always under Wayne Gretzky's shadow for during like the Edmonton championships. But then when he had his own Oilers championship plus the Rangers championship.
All right, let's do a flash round, and you guys got to be quick about this, Lenny. I'm talking to you. Don't matrix out on me. All right, we're gonna do underrated players by major sports. I'm gonna start with football. Blake, you go first.
Football. I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison.
Very good pick. I'm gonna go with John Riggins.
I'm gonna go with Warren Moon.
Warren Moon. I like it. All right. Hockey. Who you got?
Mark Messier.
Mark Messier. I think I'm going to stay with Messier too. He was in the shadows the whole time.
Absolutely.
In the shadows the whole time. So I'm going to stay with Messier also.
And his shaved head.
Yeah. Very handsome man with the shaved head. All right. We've already talked about basketball.
Okay.
So baseball, most underrated player.
I'm going to say Stan the Man, Musial.
Really?
Okay.
Go ahead, Cranepool.
He had
the original bonus baby. The original bonus baby.
Cranepool.
Yeah.
Really?
First baseman for the Mets forever.
All right. And I'm going to go with a Met, and I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, but I really think he should be in the Hall of Fame. He made a lot of all-star games. Great hitter. Had over 500 hits with 4 different teams. Rusty Staub.
Greatest pinch hitter in the biz.
Yeah, but I mean, he was an everyday player.
Le Grand Orange,
and
yeah.
Four different teams. He has over 500 hits.
Yep.
I think he's still the only player with 4 different teams with over 500 hits.
Okay.
I don't know if that's still true. Blake, you can fact check that one while we go to this one.
And he made great ribs too.
Oh, did he?
Oh, he had a restaurant in New York for ages. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was big rib joint. Yep. And he made wine too.
All right. I have 3 teams in my head. I know the stat, but I can't think of the 4th team right now. Mets, Astros, Expos, and who is the 4th team? Detroit?
I don't know.
The Tigers?
I thought the Astros was going to screw you up. The Colt 45s.
Yeah.
For Rusty Staub?
Yeah.
It's Astros, Mets, Tigers, and Expos.
Yeah.
It was the Tigers. Okay. All right.
Nailed it.
And yes, Staub is the only one to have 500 hits with 4 different clubs.
He's still the only one.
Still the only one.
All right.
Very good.
Josh, there's another stupid fact that's stuck in my head.
Which we will all never forget now.
Yeah, hopefully not. All right, here we go. Final question of the night. This is one or the other. It's an internet question. I can give you $1 million right now.
Yes, Bobby, they did. It was embarrassing.
What did Bobby say?
The
Mets.
Rays,
yeah.
The Rays.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
I can give you $1 million right now.
Okay.
Or you have 1 year to earn $100 million if you can get 1 hole in one in 1 year.
I'll take the $1 million now.
You take the $1 million now.
I'll take the $1 million now.
Blake?
Does it have to say where?
You don't have to play all 18 holes and stuff like that. Your entire job is to stand on that 1 hole all day long and just try and get a hole in one.
I think Blake wants to know if it has to go under the windmill.
No, I think it's asking for like an actual like part 3.
A real golf course. I say it has to be over 110 yards.
Does it have to be like a particular hole? Like does it have to be the stadium, the hole 17?
No, any golf course. You can pick any golf course over 110 yards.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 1 year for 100 million.
I think I'm doing 1 year for 100 million too.
Okay, boys.
I think my game's going to get better.
Okay.
If that's all I do, and that's the only shot I'm hitting, is that 110-yard shot, or 120-yard shot, whatever it is. Probably 120 would be my best.
Yeah.
Let's grab the clubs, boys, and let's go try it out.
For 1 hour, we just do that. I don't think there's a golf course that's going to let us do that for an hour.
I don't know. I was going to say, let's call Aiden. Aiden, hook us up, man.
Yeah. We were just out there. Man, that tracer is really cool. We played it yesterday. Chris, thank you, by the way. We had a blast for 2 hours with the tracer golf, and it measures how far you hit and what it was, and it has the different games on it. And we had a lot of fun, didn't we, Blake?
Very nice.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun, though.
Sounds like you guys had a nice Father's Day.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was nice. Although I do need to work on my swing a lot and probably should stretch out after the driving range because my right arm is sore.
So at the end of the year, I might have some money left, so I can help you out there and get you a massage, Blake, when you don't get your mill.
When you don't make the $1 million,
right?
So I think I can do it.
Okay.
I've never had a hole in one. I've had I've at number, I guess it's number 11 right now at the county course. I had one lip out because you could see the hole. Right. And I had it lip and you could see it turn. And I had one at the Ponte Vedra Lagoon course where it needed one more turn for a hole in one. And I couldn't see that one, but I saw where the ball was and where I hit it from. It needed one more turn. And, and at the Shores, I've had one lip. I hit the stick and it fell beside it. and didn't fall in the hole.
Well, the beautiful thing is when you do get that hole in one, I'm ordering top shelf, baby, because you're gonna have enough money to buy drinks for everybody.
Yeah, with $100 million. Yeah, yep. It's what Johnny Walker Blue.
That'll work.
Yeah, so, and Keely said she'll take the $1 million now.
Yep.
I think it was about 50-50 who won it, and no, it can't be putt. So, guys, that's the end of our show. Thank you, Lenny. Welcome back, Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Kathy says I look good in this color, and I agree with her. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Up to 150 in the book. I'm getting there.
Yep. But this is Bollocks this evening, and tomorrow night we have Epic in, and then on Wednesday night we have the Colonial Oak and Pirate Museum, Cindy. So we have Teresa in Tuesday night, Cindy in on Wednesday night.
And no Thursday.
No Thursday because it's Juneteenth.
Right.
So that we won't have shows on Thursday this week. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Share the show.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.